Since the release of Marvel's Avengers, fans and critics have been frustrated with the delayed release of promised downloadable content. The base game launched with 6 playable characters, and the 8th character will be released very soon. But in today's video, I wanted to explain why I think that we shouldn't expect more than 4 characters in 2021, and who I think those 4 characters will be.
Stars and Stripes!
Hello and welcome to another carrotscraps video, and by another I mean the 56th. So yes, I think we're only getting 4 new characters in 2021, including Clint Barton. So to be clear, that would be 1 character for every fiscal quarter of the year. Basically 1 character every 3 months. Now of course I would like more frequent content, and maybe I'm being pessimistic, which is likely the case. That tends to be my MO. But I think it's better to be realistic with our expectations rather than just hoping for more. Plus, we can actually see a quarterly pattern in the DLC content released already. So Avengers launched in September of 2020, Kate Bishop, the first DLC character, launched 3 months later, and Clint Barton is launching 3 months after her. I don't think it's a stretch to assume that this will be the continued pattern moving forward. I also personally think that 3 months is the farthest you can push new content before you really upset fans. And to be clear on my feelings on this, again, I would prefer more content, but I'm also not necessarily upset by the 4 character a year model. The only thing I wish is that if this is the case, if 4 characters is going to be the norm for 2021, I wish that Crystal Dynamics would be more transparent about that. I think it might be a tough pill for players to swallow at first, but overall, I think it would be a better idea. But again, this might not be the case. This is just my theory based on the release schedule so far. And if they are only planning 4 characters a year, it's possible the reason they aren't saying anything is because they really want to release more characters and they don't want to spread false information when they might be able to push 5 or even 6 characters. But I personally think even asking for 5 characters is a little bit too much at this time. But I'll talk about why I think that we're only getting 4 characters at the end of the video. Spoiler, it has to do with COVID, and I've talked about it multiple times. But with all of that being said, who do I think these 4 characters will be? Well, 3 characters. Who do I think these 3 characters will be? Putting aside the first quarter character, Clint Barton, I have predictions for each of the 4 characters we'll hopefully see this year. So let's start with who I think the second character of 2021 will be. My prediction for the 2021 second quarter character is SpiderMan. Now, I've heard this from a lot of players that they don't think that it's a good idea for Crystal Dynamics to release SpiderMan right now. I've heard a lot of players express that with the drought of content and new characters, that releasing a character exclusively for one console will frustrate players on other consoles so much that it'll scare off the rest of the player base. The way I see it is that at the end of the day, Crystal Dynamics has a commitment to fulfill with Spider-Man. While yes, certain non-PlayStation fans will be disappointed by the release of Spider-Man, those who purchased the PlayStation version of the game, with the promise of an exclusive character, could potentially seek legal action if the character doesn't come out soon enough. Now, of course, that's an extreme case. I'm not saying that that's definitely going to happen, but I do think it's important to consider. You can delay promised content for only so long. You can still buy copies of this game and read that on the cover. This is an active promise. So with that consequence in mind, I personally think that bringing Spider-Man to PlayStation would be a priority for the development team. I've heard some fans suggest Spider-Man will launch alongside another character like Black Panther to keep players happy, but I doubt this would be the case. First of all, because of the constraints on the development team currently, I think they want to pad out the release of their downloadable content as much as possible. After all, it takes a lot of work to make these characters, and releasing 2 characters that you put a lot of work into on the same day could drastically push back the release of the next DLC character. But I do agree that players on Xbox, PC, and I guess Stadia, I don't know, if you're playing on Stadia, you too, could be sent the wrong idea by the release of Spider-Man on PlayStation when those players don't have a lot of new content to play with either. But with that in mind, I think it's more likely that we'll see the Cloning Labs released at the same time as Spider-Man, so that way everyone has some kind of content. Cloning Labs is highly anticipated by most players, plus it's just enough content to distract players from the fact that there's an exclusive character on a different console, at least in my opinion. So I honestly hope that's the case. Even if it's not the Cloning Labs released at the same time as Spider-Man, I think that the development team should prepare some kind of DLC for other players to be released at the same time as Spider-Man. But either way, this would mean an even longer drought in character content for non-PlayStation players. But again, my reason for why I think this will be the Q2 character is because Spider-Man is a promise they have to fulfill. You know, I almost said Peter, but we don't know. We don't know for sure if Peter's the Spider-Man they're adding, huh? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Could be a different spider. Now, I know a lot of people think that Black Panther is coming soon because of the teaser in the pre-release War Table stream, but I don't think that we're getting this character for a little while longer, and I don't think that teaser meant exactly what we think it did. So first of all, to reiterate my point from earlier, I think the obligation to release SpiderMan dwarfs the want for the new character Black Panther. And I think SpiderMan pushes everybody else back in terms of release schedule. And secondly, I don't think that Black Panther was anywhere close to playable when he was teased in the pre-release War Table stream. I think what was probably going to happen is that during that stream, we were originally going to show off a CGI cutscene, maybe some voice lines, or maybe even just concept art of Black Panther. But after the tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman, they decided to remove those sequences, which for the record, I think was a good idea. But again, I don't think the character was playable at that point in time. I think it's very possible that he's in a playable state now, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he was the second quarter character. But again, for like the 100th time, I think the legal obligation to release Spider-Man trumps Black Panther in this case. But all of that being said, I do think that the teaser in the pre-release War Table stream was significant enough to make Black Panther the third quarter character. They clearly wanted to let fans know that this character was coming to the game eventually, and fans responded very positively. We've even seen concept art since that teaser. So for those reasons, I do still think that we're getting him in 2021. Hopefully we'll get another teaser for Black Panther soon though, either in the Clint Barton DLC or in a stream shortly after that DLC's release. You know, I almost said T'Challa, but you know, what if it's not T'Challa? Huh? Interesting. Huh? Ever think of it? My last prediction, and the last character that I think will be coming to the game in 2021, is the fourth quarter character, Captain Marvel. I'm honestly surprised we haven't seen more of this character since the game has come out. There have been multiple references to Captain Marvel in the main campaign, excluding that time I thought Maria Hill was Captain Marvel.
Avengers, the convoy is carrying classified SHIELD prototypes. Fury is tracking down the full manifest.
Oh, how's the cat?
I don't know, they mentioned Goose. Get off my back. I didn't have a lot of sleep or something. I can't think of an excuse right now, but I'm sure it was a great excuse. Steve Rogers mentions that she's off-world, a classic superhero excuse. Kamala is clearly a Captain Marvel fan, and her bedroom has various Captain Marvel decorations all over the walls. With so much hinting at Captain Marvel's existence, and potential concept art being on Kamala's walls, I think that she is the most likely candidate after Black Panther. Wow, I almost said Carol Danvers, but, you know, What if we're getting who am I kidding? Of course it's gonna be Carol Danvers. They're not bringing Marvel to this game. Plus we've already seen her. It's Carol Danvers. It's not gonna be anybody else. Ooh, what if Captain Marvel is gonna be Monica? Ever think of that? Maybe, So shortly after recording this video, one of my Twitch moderators posted on my Discord a piece of information that I think changes this conversation a little bit. My moderator Duck was reading the Marvel Avengers art book and discovered this. This small paragraph talking about the past and potential future of Hank Pym. It reads as follows. Hank Pym, while not currently weaponized in this Marvel universe according to Crystal Dynamics, Dr. Henry Jonathan Hank Pym, aliases Ant-Man, Giant Man, Goliath, Yellow Jacket, Wasp, and even Ultron, is no less valuable to the Avengers. We can expect that at least one alter ego will see action further down the line. Quote, as a former Avenger and hero, the future will no doubt see him take on one of his retired personas again, says Morgan Gray, the lead game director on Marvel's Avengers. So this is a super significant gem, and I'm really thankful to Duck for discovering it. Since before the release of the game, I've wondered if Hank Pym was going to be a playable character eventually, since they made a character model for him already. But after watching the events of the story campaign, I decided that he was much more of a docile, non-combative character, at least in this universe. I think it's entirely possible we could see Hank Pym as a playable character in the future. As what alias, I'm not sure, but I'm really excited to find out what. But does this change my 2021 prediction characters? Not really. While I think this would be a really smart idea to save on assets and to get a character out quickly, and I wouldn't necessarily be surprised by it, I still think that the other characters I named are given more priority than Hank Pym. But that being said, I'm very open to being wrong, and I am very excited about the potential of getting to play as Hank Pym in the future. So yes, I think we're only getting 4 characters in 2021 for Marvel's Avengers, and those are the 4 characters that I think we're getting. But why are the new characters and the new content delayed? Well, call me a broken record, but I think the pandemic is to blame. I've talked about this many times, but bottom line is, the employees working on Marvel's Avengers haven't been in their office for over a year now. And while they can work from home, it's not ideal, and there are bound to be a number of hindrances. Hindrances from lack of equipment to lack of communication. For example, in the office, I imagine it was probably easy to ask a colleague to come over to their desk and check out their work in progress, but that ease has been circumvented. I have to imagine that it's much more difficult to help your coworkers or to oversee something that's going on with another employee. I've also mentioned this multiple times, but in a dev stream, it was mentioned that the actors who play these characters have to jump through a lot of hoops just to get into the studio and film these dot animation sequences for the cutscenes. So with the pandemic and with the quarantine, I think there are numerous roadblocks that are preventing new downloadable content from being released quicker. Recently, Crystal Dynamics declared that they'd be ready to return to their offices soon, but from what I can tell, they haven't done that yet. Now, it's possible that the process of returning is just taking a long time, or they've run into some new roadblock that's preventing them from getting back into the office again. But even if they do return to their offices soon, I don't think that they'll recover from their time away very quickly. That's why I say pretty confidently that we're only getting 4 characters this year, even if they do return to the offices. It's not ideal, and maybe 2022 will be different, but for now, I think accepting that 4 characters is all we're getting will help our expectations a little bit. Plus, on the bright side, if you're expecting less and they give us more, it's like a birthday gift. So there's that as a bonus. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. If for some reason you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and to subscribe to my channel for more. If you want to watch me play Marvel's Avengers or other video games, check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/carrotscraps. And all my other social media, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram is at carrotscraps as well. Thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you soon. You gotta think a little bit outside the box. Put your brain, remove it from the box and put it safely on a paper towel. Fold a paper towel so that way brain juices don't get on everything. Place it outside the box, firmly next to the box, and you gotta